Lawn Solutions Australia is bringing the world's leading turf varieties to both your local golf course and home lawn. With superior turf varieties like Tiff Tough Hybrid Bermuda, Sir Grange Zoysia and the newly launched Zoysia Australis, available exclusively through Lawn Solutions Australia, we have the perfect lawn for you. For more information or to find your local accredited supplier, visit lawnsolutionsaustralia.com.au. That's lawnsolutionsaustralia.com.au. Hello and welcome to episode 127 of The Thing About Golf, Golf Australia magazine's continuing effort to uncover the multitude of reasons people get addicted to this game. Rod Murray's my name, but it's my colleague John Huggan who's in the chair for this episode, chatting with a player he's known for most of his adult life. Peter Baker was a prodigy when Huggy played high-level amateur golf, but after 37 years making a living on the fairways of the world, you can imagine that Baker has collected some stories and some wisdom. 3 times a winner in Europe and a member of the 1993 European Ryder Cup team, Baker is insightful, thoughtful, articulate and a natural storyteller. So let's get on and hear from one of the stalwarts of the glory days of the European Tour, Peter Baker.
Okay, welcome to the latest edition of the Thing About Golf podcast. My guest this time around is an old pal of mine, not so much old in his case as mine, but Peter Baker. What was and is the thing about golf for you?
Well, hi John, hi everyone. I think the thing with golf for me, and always has been, it's been just part of my life. I think even when I was I found something out not so long ago that I got written at school when I was 4 years old, that I wanted to be a professional golfer and win golf tournaments. And my writing hasn't improved since, but it's there right in front of me. And I think it's been part of my life and still is a huge part of my life. And I love the challenge of it. I love playing the competition side. I think the competitive sides, that's always got me. That's always why, everything I've I've always been very competitive, whether I've been playing cricket, football, at school, athletics, golf, always very competitive.
You don't give off that air though. I mean, you're a quiet wee soul. You're not demonstrative in some way, in the ways that some golfers are, but I take it, obviously I believe that you are competitive because you've been really successful, but it's not outwardly obvious. No,
I think we all got your ways of going about things, and mine's probably a bit quieter than most. But inside, I'm fiercely competitive, definitely.
Yeah, did that ever manifest itself in any outbursts when you were young? Did you get past that stage?
Oh yeah, listen, the stupid kid's still inside me there, and it comes out. It's certainly at times, and I think it's just the winning really, and you get frustrated by it, and I get frustrated. The worst thing I hate about it is not being competitive, and that's the frustrating bit. It's like always say if I can get in with a chance to win the last day, whether that in my mind it's 4 shots, 3 shots, 6 shots or whatever, right. You want to be in there. The difficult thing is when I feel like I'm out of it and I'm not competitive. That's the thing that probably gets me down, and I don't sort of like.
So it's not so much the winning and losing; it's just that being there.
Absolutely, and the buzz of it really, and seeing how you react to it, because every time you get in there, it is different. But I think it's different. And there's different things that are thrown at you on the course there, and different things happen that you've got to try and handle. And you certainly find out a lot more about yourself as you're going along.
Give me some of the mistakes you made then. We've all done them.
I remember very, very early on in my career as an amateur, we were playing up in Finland in Helsinki in the boys amateur. And I was 3 or 4 up with 5 to play, say. And I lost every hole and lost on the last hole. And basically what I learned there was I just got faster and faster and faster trying to close it out. And that was my first big lesson. Just got quicker and quicker and quicker. And, that was it. I lost all the rhythm, all the time in trying to get the thing done and everything. So that was my first big.
But you were pretty good at that point though. I mean, you'd reached England boys team status, you were no dud even then.
No. And I'd done a lot of, county golf and stuff like that. But, that's, maybe I got away with it before, but when I came up with that.
I mean, see, my memory of you is that you were, when I was playing amateur golf back then, you were a bit of a prodigy. I mean, you were very young when you appeared on the scene, if you like, playing the Walker Cup when you were 17. So you must have become obvious quite early that you were good at this.
Yeah. I always felt, I always felt I was good at it. And, you keep, obviously I was brought up with Shropshire and Herefordshire as my county. So I got, in those days, about 19 clubs, I think, in Shropshire and Herefordshire.
Right.
So I got into the county juniors very early, but I got into county men's team when I think I was 14,
right.
13, 14.
So it's an advantage to come from a wee place like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I was obviously following Sandy and Woozy. So, there was all those records in front of me and those guys' performances. And, I played a bit with Sandy, I played a bit with Woozy. And, that sort of inspired me. And I didn't realise until I got on tour that, I thought to be a professional golfer successful, you had to play as well as they did and strike it as well as they did.
Yeah.
I didn't realise they are two of the sort of top 4 or 5 players I've ever played with in striking the golf ball. But at the time, I didn't realise that. And, so that was the sort of level I strive for, is to try and get somewhere near them.
Yeah. Woozy's been on this podcast now. I always feel that for all that he achieved, and God knows it was a lot, he was always slightly underrated. He was always the kind of forgotten one of the 5 that, dominated.
Definitely, yeah. I think, for me, he is, yeah, for sure. That
beautiful swing.
He was, yeah. We used to play a lot of practice rounds on tour. Swing was fantastic, but he was just quality all the way through. He was always very hot and cold with the putter. But I never forget. Obviously, you're fortunate to play with Seve and these greats and stuff like that. Seve was unbelievable at the bunkers. Woozy was so good at the bunkers, and he never gets mentioned with that. And he's probably one of the best drivers of the ball.
Well, that's the thing.
And long irons, yeah. It was just fantastic. I remember standing on a tee in Morocco, King's Course there, and first time I'd played with him in a tournament properly. Last day, and it was a par 3 about 200 yards, and I think he was hitting 3-iron or something, and I was hitting me 5-wood. And I never forget, he hit this 3-iron so high, and this so soft, and you just go, all right, well, I can't do that.
Yeah.
It was different.
Yeah, but you're talking superstar level at that point. Yeah, so take me through the amateur days. I look back on my time playing at that sort of level as with mixed kind of emotions, I think, because it was all riddled with politics and favouritism and nepotism and all the isms you want to mention. And I got kind of disillusioned by a lot of it. But you moved on pretty quickly, obviously.
Yeah, it went quite quick for me, the amateur game, and I progressed all the way through quite quickly. I was successful at most of it. And the only thing I never really got to grips with was the match play bit, like the British boys match play bit, the English amateur match play. The amateur championship, I always got to the quarterfinals and everything and lost. It doesn't matter who I played. And that was it really. I always sort of seemed to hit a barrier at the quarterfinals and that was it. So I never really got to grips with the match play stuff, which was a little bit strange. Stroke play was, Carriage Trophy, Brabazon Trophy. Yeah. I sort of felt a bit better with that, although the Lytham Trophy I was particularly useless at. Yeah. But yeah, it seems to be the stroke play thing seems to be a bit better than the team thing.
People who listen to these podcasts will be sick of me saying this, but to me, stroke play only gets interesting when it turns into match play at the end.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Never thought about that. Yeah. So, I think it's just, a lot of it's momentum, isn't it? Match play, I feel. It's momentum, match play. You get that bit of momentum.
It's getting in the other guy's head.
Yeah, and it's just you get that bit of a roll, and it's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. It's now funny you should mention the quarter-final thing, because it's on my list of little things here. Dornoch 1985. Now, you'll remember how you got from Dornoch to Glasgow after we both lost in the quarter-final.
Did we?
I gave you a lift.
Did you to get the train?
I dumped you at Glasgow Central Station. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, but the reason I bring that up is because of what you did on the 18th hole. Yeah. Run us through that.
Yeah, was it David James?
David James.
We had a good game, and I remember I should have won. I missed everything, and he made a few, and all that stuff as you go through in your own mind. And then we got to the last hole, and I can't remember if I was all square or one down, and I just missed the fairway on the right in the hollow there, and I dressed my ball, and the ball moved, and that was it. Called a penalty on myself, and
but you were the only one who saw it.
Yeah, but that Yeah, but you got to live with it. I mean, you got to, you put your head on the pillow at night, and that's how I was brought up. And I say, look, you got to play the game, try and play the game the right way. And sometimes you see, to this day, you see people make mistakes, and they do get hammered for it. But on the other side of it, you can see it saying, well, probably not intentional. It's not. Some of it's not. I don't think some of it is not intentional. I don't think, but everything picks everything up and stuff. But I always try and believe everybody tries to play it in the right manner and the right way. Maybe I'm a bit naive with that, but I mean,
I think you are. However, neither here nor there.
Yeah, I know. It's I like to try and believe that people are good in that way.
Can you remember what your reaction was when it moved?
I can't. No. I think it was just normal. It's just that's it, isn't it? That's it. Disappointing. I think I knocked it on the green and had a long put, maybe for a 5 or a 4. I can't remember exactly. I was disappointed, absolutely disappointed, because I thought that was one I felt I could win. I was playing well, but there was always something around the corner. I remember, I think Lytham, the amateur at Lytham. I think I played McAvoy. He was my teammate. Mm-hmm. We played a lot of golf together, and he beat me 5 and 4 or something. Give me a good hammering.
He was evil in match play.
Yeah,
I played him in the Home Internationals in 1981, and again, he'll laugh if he listens to this, because I always say to him that I was the last person he beat while he was unbeaten. Yeah, playing for England, because he lost to Ronan Rafferty the next day.
Did he? Oh, right.
Yeah, that was his first ever defeat, but he went forever.
Yeah, he was very good. Yeah, and I actually enjoyed my time playing for England and Great Britain and Ireland with Peter. We had a really good record. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had an unbelievable performance at the Walker Cup at Pine Valley in the foursomes, where I think we were 5, 6 or 7 under when we won our match. And the next best score were the guys we beat. I think they were 1 under or something. It was raining, and it was an incredible performance. And then I got dropped, but that's probably another story.
Talking of amateur golf.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I was going to bring up the Walker Cup. I mean, that's kind of the pinnacle of amateur golf for people who come from where we come from. What was that like? Being Pine Valley special for one thing. Amazing.
Yeah, that was that was the big aim, really, was to try and get in the Walker Cup. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, if I got in the Walker Cup and did it, I could sort of turn pro. I did really want to make the Walker Cup, and I tied for the Brabazon at Seaton Carew. And that sort of got me in it. I had a good run, and it got me in it. And Pine Valley was just an outstanding place. And we had a good team. Monty was on the team. Paul Mayo, I think Sandy Stevens. John Hawksworth, Sandy Stevens. McAvoy, Garth McGimsey was on it. So we had
he won the
David Guilford, David Guilford. So we had a good team. And the Americans had Scott Verplank, Duffy Waldorf,
Davis Love,
who didn't carry wood. He just carried a 1-iron, if you remember. Yeah. And hit it miles.
He didn't need it.
No, he didn't need it. He hit it so far. It was incredible. Yeah. And we unfortunately lost by 2 points, but great place, great experience. And that was me sort of, I hung on a little bit, but that was sort of in my own mind. That was me sort of, okay, I've done that. I want to get out there and try and play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there probably wasn't any doubt in your mind. I mean, you'd been good enough at every level that you'd played at to that point, I'm sure. But did that kind of confirm that you were good enough to turn pro? If you needed any confirmation?
Yeah, definitely. I won a couple of matches, 2 out of 3, and I played really well in the singles. And the funny story about that singles match is I didn't know this until K Club in 2006. There was Scott Verplank and Duffy Waldorf, and I probably shouldn't say the guy's name, and I'm not going to. The guy, people can look it up. The guy I play, it was an airline pilot from Texas,
Randy Sonnier, because I know that because I played with him in the amateur in the first 2 rounds qualifying at Turnberry in 1983. Yeah.
Anyway, that's the guy. So they come up to me from 1985 to 2006. And they called me over, and I said, I want to chat with them. I think, did you realise? He said, when you played Randy Sonnier in the Walker Cup, the Walker Cup at Pine Valley, did you realise you had all the Americans rooting for you? And I said, no. I said, sure. He said, yeah, absolutely. We were delighted you beat him 5 and 4. And I said, "Oh, right."
And why?
After all these years,
was he that unpopular?
Apparently, he was. They didn't quite get on with him. So I don't know what had gone on, but there we are, all those years later.
Yeah. So, how quickly did you turn pro after that?
I turned pro. It was August '86, so it's nearly a year later.
Right. Okay.
So I had one more go at the amateur.
Right.
That was try to win the amateur. That was the
Get
thing.
to the Masters, was it? Yeah.
And then after that, it was a plan. Yeah, exactly. A plan to turn pro, and I turned pro in August '86. Yeah.
See, the thing about winning the amateur, great as it would have been for any of us, you have to hang around a bit. If somebody like you, it would have been a waste of time almost, if you like, waiting to play in that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have hung around. If in the at the Walker Cup, the guys from Oklahoma State was out there, and they wanted me to go to Oklahoma, take a scholarship up in Oklahoma, 3 years and all that sort of stuff. Usual business studies thing. And but they hummed and hawed about it, and they, I didn't know if you had to do any work or not, because that was my thinking, and they insisted that I had to, so I didn't do it. So I didn't go. But on the Oklahoma, I think they were number one at the time. I think Verplank was there and stuff, but. So we made the decision not to do it and sort of turn pro.
Were you tempted by that at all? It was kind of in vogue at that time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I tempted for 5 minutes probably. That was it. It never really. Yeah. 3 years seemed a long time, and I wanted to get on with my career and go professional.
I mean, how academic were you at school? I mean,
it was okay, okay, but it's not something I enjoyed. I hated every minute of it. You'd be looking out the window, wanted to be outside.
Like me, I was fine if if the subject interested me, I was all right.
Yeah.
But if I didn't,
I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed all sports, really, sports side of it, and did what I had to do, and so that was it really. So the intention was always to turn pro and get on with my. Hopefully
what
a career.
Other sports did you dabble in?
Oh,
you mentioned cricket there. I've never played cricket in my life. Yeah. It's not big where I come from.
No. It's we had a good cricket team, football team. Obviously, played a lot of football. School team and a little bit for the county, and then we did athletics, which unbelievably, when I think about it, I was quite good at 800 metres and long distance, which long distance now is about 20 yards. So if you look back on that, you think, and then, remarkably, we played basketball, and, I think I've been about 5'9" since I've been about 12 years old, I think. And I played at centre and all that.
Point guard?
Yeah. And we played that at school. So all sorts of stuff. Hockey, they just put me on the hockey because I could whack it. And so all sports I played really, and, I wouldn't say I was good at all of them because I wasn't, but I was competitive again, and enjoyed playing them.
Yeah. Now, turning pro, it seems to me. I mean, you played in the Walker Cup, the Ryder Cup in 1993. Now that's 7 years after you turned pro. Now, until you turned pro, I mean, you had pretty much success the whole way. I mean, there was obviously a bit of a struggle, if I can put it that way, when you turned pro. I mean, talk me through that.
When I had about 10, in those days you could get as many invites as you wanted. So I got about, I think it was 10 invites, 11 invites, right through to the last event, which was in Portugal. And I was tied one.
This is 86.
This is 86 to get my card. I was tied one. I was 1, 2, 3. Noel Ratcliffe, I think, was 1, 2, 4, and Jeff Hall was 1, 2, 5. And they put us out all together. In the last tournament in Portugal.
Some sadist.
Yeah. And cut a long story short, if you made the cut, you got your card. So I made the cut, Noel Ratcliffe made the cut and Jeff Hall didn't. And I got my card with about £4,300, I think it was.
That's how much you won?
That's how much I won to get the card, in 1986.
That's like a good week.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. So that was like a huge relief. And
so you didn't have to go to the school?
No, didn't have to go to the school, got a full year at it. Played the next year, did okay. I think I got Rookie of the Year that year, so on and so forth. So I did all right, and then I sort of played okay, and then I got to 88, where I won the Benson Hedges.
I remember you eagled the last and all that stuff. Yeah.
So that was all exciting. Missed the next 3 cuts after that. Did okay for the rest of the year, and then the next few years sort of really struggled. Lost my confidence and this, that, and the other. Just didn't play very well, and looking back on it, it's like I can understand why I struggled because I'd never struggled in my life. I felt like I'd never struggled.
That was my point. Yeah,
never struggled in my life. What do I do? I've never experienced this before. So how do I get out of it? What do I do? and you're scratching around for a while, and you can easily see how it sort of goes, ebbs away. You see players today, and you get it because they come out, they play fantastic, and you got to deal with all the other bits and pieces, and then you start losing your confidence, and then there's all the people around you who are playing fantastically well, and you feel you're left behind, and so a lot of stuff's going on. And I managed to just sort of hang in there, really.
Was it technical or mental? I mean, I know you were coached by Sandy Lundstad.
I think it's a bit of everything. I think a bit of tension as well. I think, certainly confidence, technique, a little bit of everything, and not knowing how to deal with it, which is very difficult. And fortunately, when I look back, I managed to just scrape in and keep my card and didn't have to go back to school.
Right.
And then I sort of got out of it started playing a lot better in 93, beginning of 93. And a friend of mine, Rodney Foster, who...
I know Rodney Foster.
Yeah, Rodney himself, been a good player, Ryder Cup, Walker Cup captain and selector and stuff up in Leeds. And he suggested I go and see a guy called Dennis Sheehy, who works with Ledbetter. He said he'd gone and seen him. And he said, why don't you go and do that? Just what harm can we come up for the weekend? Go. And I did, and I went up and he told me a lot of different things that I'd never been told, really.
For example?
Yeah, for example, stop sliding about, lifting up and lifting my arms up. And there's quite a few things going on. Yeah. And he did it I'll never forget, we did it on the TV, video recorded it, got it onto a TV screen somehow, and got the felt tips out, which was all new in those days. And and I sort of went, I can see that. I can buy into that. And it went on from there. And then we worked really, really hard. And then, of course, the Ryder Cup season was only January to, was it end of August then? It was only a short spell. Yeah. And I could see I was making progress, although the results wasn't coming. Then all of a sudden, it's sort of like from, I won British Masters, I think that was in June maybe, at Woburn, and it took off from there. And I had won a couple of times.
That sounds a lot like Nick Price. I mean, Nick Price, there's a swing sequence of Nick Price in his book that he put in his book. It sounds a lot like the swing that you just described. I mean, it's all over the place. Yeah. Nothing like the swing that he had when he beat best player in the world. Yeah. And best ball striker.
Yeah, great player, Nick. Yeah.
And he was a Ledbetter guy.
He was, yeah.
It's amazing how much change you can make and still compete at the level you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think it was just, I think, I don't know, but it was, in those days, that was a bit of technology, felt tips on a TV screen and drawing a few lines and video camera big as anything,
Your ball speed wasn't something you thought about, no.
And what he told me was very different to what I'd been told before, and I got into these bad habits and, so it stopped me searching around, really.
And when did it click?
Funny enough, it sort of clicked at the Benson Hedges at, was that down in Cornwall, wasn't it? St Mellion.
St Mellion, yeah.
St Mellion. And I shot something like this. And you can laugh at it. I shot something like 81, 69, 78, 69. Right. And I thought, there's something in that. Yeah. I know.
When you got it right, it was really...
Yeah. And I could feel it was coming and it was starting to come. And, it just sort of went on from there. I got a little bit better each week. Everything got a bit better, and then all of a sudden at Woburn, it all went mad. I played great, putted great, and won by 7, I think it was. So.
Do you qualify directly for the Ryder Cup?
I did, yeah, I did. I think it was 6. I think it was on the list or something. Yeah.
Well, we have to talk about that, obviously. You had quite an eventful week, as I recall. Yeah. There was visits to hospitals and all sorts of things going on, but just run me through it in your own mind.
Yeah. Obviously I was good pals with Wuzzy and Sam and Jesse. You when you get on the team, you're not really actually speak to them. And he says, well, all I can tell you, you'll be nervous as hell on the first tee, because we are as well, and we've done it before, and it's just different, but, you'll enjoy it in a way, but it's a tough week and a lot of pressure, obviously. So that was the sort of the build up to it, and it's at the Belfry, which is near home. Yeah. First child, Georgina, she was be about 9 months, so my mum and dad came along and helped look after her and Hannah's mum and dad and so on and so forth. So we going to the dues, doing all the practice and everything like that. And then when I came off the course, the second day in the afternoon, having won, me and Wuzzy had won. I think that's when we beat. I think that might have been the day we beat Couples and Asinger. I think it was 6 and 5. I think that was the day. So I'd come off all jubilant and happy, and I sort of, Helen disappeared, and I thought, it's a bit strange. My mum and dad are not about, and Georgina's not about, and anyway, she'd got a raging temperature basically in the room. They called the doctor in and all that sort of thing. And anyway, the doctor was very concerned that she got meningitis. So, we were up there. I was up there and, said, look, we're going to have to take her to hospital. We'll give her a precautionary, jab basically. And then we went in the ambulance. So I got my spikes on in those days, all the gear on in this ambulance, going in and out of all the traffic, and ended up in, I think it was a Good Hope Hospital in Solihull. And they got her in there, and they, obviously they looked after her great and did all the tests. And after I think it was about 3 or 4 hours, they confirmed that she hadn't got meningitis, which was a big plus, obviously. And it was some sort of virus she got, and she was safe. She's going to be okay and everything. So basically, Helen stayed with her overnight, and I got back to the team room. It must have been about, I don't know, it was quite late. It must have been around 10:30, something like that. And I remember that I think there was only Bernard and his wife there welcoming me back. It's all right. How is she? Yeah, all good. And I said, back tomorrow. He said, well, look, I think the Americans had agreed to put somebody else in the envelope. I think it might have been Davis Love, actually, right. Strange enough, because they'd already got one in the envelope because Sam had to pull out with his toe. Mm-hmm. So I can't remember who pulled it. Anyway, so he said, look, see how she is in the morning. If you want to play, great. We got the draw done. Do you know who you're playing? I said, I haven't got a clue what's going on. He said, well, if you're playing, you're off 4th, and you're playing Corey Pavin. So, oh, great. It was
just about the best in their team at the time.
Great. I said, it's been a good day all round. And he said, well, look, I'm going to play. I says, I'm definitely going to play if she's well. I'll get a phone call at 6 o'clock in the morning, so she's fine and everything. She's coming back later. So it all goes ahead, really. So that was a big relief, but that was really obviously horrible few hours. And, and thank goodness she's all right. Yeah.
Now take us inside the team room. This is what everybody wants to know about the Ryder Cup, and nobody, the Europeans do a pretty good job of not giving away any secrets. But you can give us a flavour of what it's like in there. Yeah,
I mean, it was for me. I mean, I'd play with those guys obviously throughout the years and stuff, but you walk into the team room and see them all there. You got Faldo, Sevi, Lathapel, Langer, Woozy, Rocker, Torrance, James, Barry Lane, Hegman. We're all newcomers, but you look at that and you go like, you've got to have a chance. You're looking around, got these great players, and so that was quite daunting. Even though I'd met them all, but all in one room,
your own team room,
And the thing that we had a team meeting. Different. I can't actually remember what we're talking about, but the passion that come through from like Faldo, Langer, Woozy, Sevi, and Lathapel, you'd expect, and the others, was to beat the Americans was just sort of blew me away. I felt I'm very competitive. I couldn't believe how competitive they were and how much they wanted to beat the Americans. It was just the power of that was incredible. And I remember going back to the room and I walked to Ellen and said, "Guys, it went well." He said, "Are you all right?" I went, "Wow, yeah." I said, "Can't believe what." What you was feeling. So that was just, the desire to win was so strong.
That must have added to that would have made me kind of go, oh, it would have added to the pressure of it, because then you would have, I've got to perform.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. This was all of a sudden, it was sort of business, and, it was amazing feeling that. That was just, but you looked around, which is fantastic. I guess it must be like a football team. If you've got great players, you look around, you think, well, I'm glad he's on the team and he's on the team. So
you've got Zidane and Maradona and all the rest of them.
Yeah, and you feel like if you can perform a little bit, you must have a chance. And I felt that it just. I mean, I tell that story on the first tee shot because I didn't play in the morning. It was foggy and it was delayed a bit. But Bernard said, "You're going to be playing this afternoon. Get yourself, ready and everything." So go and practice, and the matches are going on. You're watching the screen, and it's quite. And then we get out there, and I remember getting on the first tee at the Belfry, and I've played the Belfry quite a lot before that. And if you ever get there, you probably wouldn't even notice. But I stood on that first tee, and there's a big oak tree on the right hand side off the tee that I'd never seen before, but it seemed to be in the way. And I would go there, where's that come from? In my mind, I go, where's that come from? And everything's just magnified 100-fold. Everything's just, you see everything, you hear everything, and everything seems, stuff like that seems a bit bigger. And, God, that was nerve-wracking on that first tee, try and get that first tee. The Americans went first, they hit it right. Yeah. Woozy hit it right. all into the crowd. I thought, oh, come on. And so I just did it low left in the rough. Awful shot, really, but it sort of worked because of that tree, which was, when you go back there now, it's not in the way by a long way. But
Did it help having Woozy, your pal, there?
Yeah, it did, yeah. Yeah, it did. It was I play with him a lot, very, very much so, yeah. It's, I think, I can't say it relaxes you, but it just felt you knew somebody well right next to you. And I think that's the big thing with the chemistry, with the pairings. I think if you got some sort of team spirit there, shall we say, or something just a bit stronger maybe than team spirit.
Well, it's become, I don't think it was anything like this back when you played. It's become very scientific.
Very much
this
so,
whole statistics and, tendencies on holes. And I mean, even last year in Italy, that I heard that the Europeans had grown the rough more on the right-hand side of the first hole, I think it was, because more of the Americans tended to miss right than the Europeans did.
Yeah, was that right? Rather,
I
did read bits and stuff about these stats and this, that, and the other, and so should play with somebody, and so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really.
How did Bernard go about pairing people? I mean, you and Woozy was an obvious one. I would have thought, given that you were young and rookie, and he was your pal and experienced. It would have made sense, just on paper at least.
And I think he very much went down sort of the Sevilla Lathabal route, didn't he? And pairings and sort of Monty Langer or Monty Faldo, and me and Woozy, I suppose, was pretty obvious. And then I thought the strange one, looking back at it, when we played me and Barry together in the foursomes.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, where did that come from? I mean,
apparently it come from because we both played really well. But Barry had played really well with Bernard, I think, and I played really well with Woozy. So I think the thing it was, and then we played Payne Stewart and Ray Floyd, which was tough. But the funny story about that was, obviously the foursomes were in the morning. And me and Barry, we go down to breakfast. There's only me and Barry in there. For some reason, having the cornflakes or whatever, just sitting there quite quiet. And next thing, you hear the footsteps, and you're sort of, I know it's a strange thing to say, but you always knew when Sevi was about. He had whatever that was. I don't know what it was, but he's got that feeling when he comes in and he said, "Morning, boys, good morning," and off he goes and gets his sugar puffs or whatever it is. And he comes down and he sits right next to us. So me and Barry right next to us. And I look at Barry, and you know he's going to say something. Something's coming. Yeah. And he said, a few bites to eat, and then he says, "Right," he said, "You guys, you have a really tough match today. Payne Stewart, Ray Floyd." Yeah. So no. He says, "You don't. No, you don't understand." He said, "Ray Floyd." He said, "Very difficult, very difficult. Be careful." What do you mean? So he said, "He'll do something. He'll change in his pocket or glove, or he's stand in the way, or clubs." And he said he always wears white shoes. I said, "White shoes, Sevi?" He said, "White shoes, you get in your eye line." He said, "You must be careful." He said, "He will do something." He says, "In the day, be prepared. You must be prepared." He said, "Very, very, very difficult man, very tricky man." So I look at Barry and I said, like you, Sevi? He said, "Like you?" No, not like me, not like me. He says, "I'm professional."
They were all the things that they accused him of.
Exactly, yeah, exactly that. And we were like laughing, looking about it. No, Sevi goes, "No, I'm professional, but be careful. He will do." Anyway, so off we go. We played okay, and I think they played really well. And we get to the 15th at the Belfry, which is the par 5 with the triple green. And strange enough, the pin was on the third tier for some reason. And they knocked it on the front in 2. Barry had wedged me onto about 6 feet, and we're 3 down. Payne Stewart had putted it off the back of the green. So Ray Floyd's got about a 12-footer. Anyway, he misses it, picks his ball up and walks straight at my line with his spikes on. So I'm going, "Ray, what are you doing?" And then Barry gives him all sorts like this, and he's going, I didn't mean."
That was brave.
Yeah. He gets fair play to Barry, stood up to him really well. And, "Sorry guys, I didn't realise," and And of course I get there, missed the putt. And that was it. That was what Sevi was on about. Right time, right place, broke the concentration. Absolutely spot on.
Yeah. Floyd was as hard as nails. He really was.
Yeah. And then they beat we parred the next time. No, they beat us 3-2. Mm-hmm. And so that was, he was a tough guy. Great bomb. I think he was 49 anyway. Great player. Great player.
That's
probably not my cup of tea.
No.
I have to say. But what a great player and competitor, you know. Yeah. Payne Stewart was a lovely guy.
When I was living in the States, I did do a story with him for Golf Digest, and I had to go somewhere to do it. And I went the day before, as you do, and I saw him on the range the day before we had an appointment. So I thought I'll just go and say hello. And he was hitting balls. He was just standing there, and I introduced myself, and he says, "You're interrupting. I'm at my place of work. I said, "Well, I'm only saying hello just to say so that you'll know what I look like tomorrow." Oh, he was having none of that.
Yeah. Tough guy, tough guy. I mean, a great player. I mean, I'd say, tough competitor. And you can see why he was so good, you know. But he was, not.
He had that stare, didn't he?
He did, yeah. His ways of doing things, and that was his way. But he's sort of so Sevy was spot on, yeah. He knew it was coming.
I'm saying that kind of stuff always just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously trying it on, and you think, well, if they're doing stuff like that, they're thinking about that rather than what they're playing. Yeah. And you're in their heads. Yeah. You know, that's how I was looked at.
I mean, it's funny, the Ryder Cup. So I thought they went a bit soft. I got to be honest with you. In Florida, they all live in Florida, playing each other, aren't they? And everything. But the last one was a bit better. A bit more in it for various reasons. I know not everybody likes to see that, but I quite enjoy that side of it.
Well, yeah, I'd like it if it didn't get out of hand. I mean,
and there's a line, isn't there? Yeah.
And I fear that it's going to be crossed at the next one.
Oh, that's going to be a different. I'm not sure where we're going to end up with that, but
could be brutal. Back in Europe when you played, I mean, we're talking 30 years ago now.
Yeah.
Europe's always kind of taken on the underdog role, but they absolutely did it back then. I mean, that was we're the little tour playing the big tour.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I mean,
you didn't have to get yourself worked up too much.
No. Well, I mean, look, even to this day, you go to America and you haven't won anything. You're off first or last, aren't you? You know, I mean, look at Monty there.
Monty, they should put Monty off first. He was number 2 in the world. Yeah. He was off first.
Yeah, and can you imagine? You know, it's been there with Sevy's told that story, but they called me Steve on the tee. They don't understand Steve, you know, and they didn't recognise those 5 guys at all.
No,
I never recognised them at all. And the world rankings are all over the shop. They never give us any points. And you go over there and you like I say, be off first or last, and it was poor really. And to this day, I don't think they've quite got it right, and I don't think they reckon.
Well, certainly not. They're going to have to fix it at the moment. I mean, it doesn't look like reality now. I mean,
and they certainly didn't recognise the European players, so you could understand why they were so much wanting to win the Ryder Cup.
Want to work less and play more golf? Well, you can. If you're practicing your putting or your drives, Tiff Tough Hybrid Bermuda, exclusively by Lawn Solutions Australia, can bring the golf course experience right to your home. With superior drought tolerance, speedy recovery and toughness, Tiff Tough is the smart grass. For more information, visit lawnsolutionsaustralia.com.au. That's lawnsolutionsaustralia.com.au.
It would be remiss to not mention just how well you played that week.
Yeah,
I remember I watched. I mean, I was there, and I thought every time I looked up, he's holding another one. Yeah. Your putting that week was just ridiculous,
unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it was. I putted well all season, and I worked. I'll never forget when I made the Ryder Cup. I really put a lot of time in the putting because I always thought you're a good putter in match play. You're in the game, and it's like a 2-hole swing, isn't it? You know, and so I remember working really hard the last month on my putting for the Ryder Cup. Because I just think it was a massive
pisses
thing.
Off the other game.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly, yeah. I played nicely, putted superb, and you got that bit of momentum going and a bit of confidence. And once you get that first point, it's a relief, big relief to get your first point. And it went on from there really. So just disappointing we lost. It was one of them bad half an hours that came at the wrong time.
Well, that's right. Before you move on from that, though, I mean, you beat Corey Pavin on the last screen and playing as well as you did.
Yeah.
You had to play that well to beat him. He was incredibly good at that point, wasn't he?
Oh yes, he was superb, and he was tough. He was tough guy, and it was quite funny because we both, I think. I'm going to say I shot 67 or something like that, and he shot 69, something like that, in the 60s anyhow. And afterwards, he had a go at me. He said, "Do you realise?" He said, you had did he say I had 24 putts? I think he said I had 24 putts. I said, no. Anyway, I won, you know what I mean? That was it. Anyway, I got to thinking about it a week later or so. He had 25. Yeah. I think we had 49 putts between us.
A bit rich coming from him, who holds everything.
Absolutely. But I think we had 49 putts between us in that match, which was incredible. We both
you might have been the only guy who would have beaten him that day.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it was. It was, and after, he said, I'll see you at the World Match Play at Wentworth. He said, we'll be playing together. I went, World Match Play? I'm not in the World Match Play. No, he said, you will be, and we'll be playing first round. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we both get in the World Match Play. We both play each of the first round. Or whether that was just a lucky draw, I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Probably not.
Anyway, he beat me. He beat me, and he won the whole thing. But his fairway wood play that week at Wentworth, those 2 rounds was the best I've ever seen. And he was hitting wood in at the first. I mean, this is hard to believe, Wentworth, but it's October and it was wet and quite damp. He hit wood in at the first, he hit wood in at the third, the fifth, 15 he did. 17 he couldn't reach, 18 he couldn't, his fairway woods were just out of this world. It was a short game. Great player. Yeah. And like, I know he had War on the Shore, didn't he, where, Steve Richardson and all that.
Lost the slot there.
Yeah. And, but, after that, he's always come up to me in America, said hello, he's been absolutely great, and, you chat about it. And we got to, just a bit on that story, we got to, the K Club in 2006, and he's vice captain, I'm vice captain. Right. So I'm walking into the hotel with Helen and my 2 girls, and we're walking in there, and who's coming out? Corey. And he's I think it was his second wife anyway. Yeah. His new wife, shall we say. Yeah. Anyway, he comes out and says, hi Corey, how you doing? Yeah, good, thank you. This is so-and-so. He says, I know you know it's Helen and his daughters. And he said, Peter is the one who ruined my Ryder Cup singles record. He says in 93, he beat me 2 up. He said, and he putted me off the course and and all this sort of stuff. All right, anyway, okay, well, have a good week, Corey, like that. And I walked a bit gone. I walked in the hotel and I went, yes. And Helen says to me, what's the matter, Dad? I said, Steve still hurts him now. I says, isn't that great?
Brittle.
But there we are, brittle.
No, that's exactly what you think. You never say, but you always
that's
think.
Right, yeah.
Now, before we leave 93, I mean, that famously, or infamously, the last team to lose at home. I mean, what was it like when you lost?
Oh, devastating. Yeah. Absolutely devastating. I mean, a number of us were shedding tears. I know that's, you imagine Seven being so passionate, he was heartbroken because that was he lived for that.
Rocca would be in a bit of a state.
Rocca was in a state, there's a few of us in a state there. And, so it was very, very disappointing and all happened so quickly at the end. We led all the way around. Yeah. And it all went wrong. And, it was devastating. And in those days, you had to go to a dinner. Afterwards. So, and I'll never forget to go to the dinner and, you're sitting there sort of, dumbstruck really in a way and, a few drinks and the Americans all go to bed 10:30. They get in the plane, but anyway.
Yeah, no so we went back to party these
We went to the team room, had a party. Who was there with us? Payne Stewart playing the harmonica. Right. We went to bed about 3:00. He went to bed about 3:00. Had a great time and,
He kind of got it, didn't he?
He got it, yeah. He got it, yeah. He did travel a lot, didn't he, as a younger pro?
Yeah, he played Asia and all.
Yeah, so he always thought he was very European, and he was brilliant to me. After that, we signed with Top Flight. He signed a contract, and I signed a contract, and they were developing the ball then. Really, this not Bellata ball, really, and so they were testing it out on us and all this. And he used to send the balls over me because he got them before me, so he'd send a dozen balls over to me, or he'd give them to Wuzzy to give to me. He said, "Look, this is the best ball yet. Give it to Pete. Tell him you want that." So he was brilliant like that.
Touch.
Yeah, and he'd always keep in touch and saying, "Well, I've got these clubs or whatever." Or if something really good come up, he said, "Right, you need to get this. This is what you need. I've tested it. It's good." So he was great like that. Yeah.
Again, last thing on 93, you must be disappointed that you never got back.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Having tasted it, you'd be thinking, I want more of that, but it never happened.
Never happened, no. Didn't play well enough. I had one good year where I think I got close-ish, once. I can't remember, actually. Something like that, anyhow. So, disappointing not to get back here. I'd love to have played one abroad in America. I'd love to go in America. That's obviously must be very different. Never did it. But grateful I did it once. That was I'd seen David Guilford do it, and I'd seen Brodie do it.
Yeah.
So that sort of winter, inspired me to work really hard, try and get my game back and do it. So, looking up to them doing it, I thought, well, I can do it. I'm sure I can do it.
Yeah.
Come on, that's what I really. So they inspired me to do it. They were played in Kiowa, didn't they? Steve Richardson was not Kiowa in '91. I think Brodie, Guilford, and
they were all.
Richardson. So I'd known them for a long time through my England days, and so that really inspired me to try and get me out together and get in there.
As we're on the Ryder Cup theme, let's keep going with it. You were back in a way as assistant captain. You touched on that in '06.
Yeah.
That always makes me smile, that Ryder Cup, because it's got to be the worst American team ever.
Yeah.
I mean, they were awful.
Yeah, that a strange team, wasn't it, really?
Some of them didn't even have passports.
No. And it was a strange team. We had a good team. And it's funny, really, because being on the inside, I thought we did really, really well, and it gets taken away with that. As you're saying, it's probably the worst American team.
I don't
we won by we won by a load of points, and McGinley give away a point and all that sort of stuff, or half a point, whatever it was. So we had the record and all that, and it was I think Woosie was quite harsh done by. We'd done a lot of homework. We'd prepared really, really well, because people look at Woosie and thinks he just chucks up in the air and puts it together. We'd gone through a lot of stuff. Obviously we'd had the
Talk to me about that. What did you do?
First of all, we had the bit where obviously the Thomas Bjorn controversy,
yes,
and the Darren Clarke and the Lee Westwood bit. So that was a tough decision.
For the listeners, that he didn't pick Bjorn, and Bjorn thought he should have been picked and made a big fuss of it.
That's right.
Press, and he picked Darren and Lee.
Yeah, and made it very difficult for Ian and a lot of press stuff. But the strange thing about that is the next person on the list was Paul Broadhurst. It was very, very good pals with all of us, So that was a bit like, you're telling your mate, I'm sorry, we're going to miss you out. We're going to put Darren and Lee in. Team and
but
all that.
You could make a good case for those two.
Yeah.
Obviously, Darren was in a peculiar situation,
and he'd been in contact with Darren, and spoke to him. Look, sure decision sort of thing. And
his wife had just died of cancer.
That's right. Yeah, so. And so that was difficult. We'd gone out there. We prepared the course. I mean, we remember growing the rough up out there and the runoffs, getting rid of try and get some runoffs in there. I mean, this is 2006. So there's a lot of stuff going in there. We'd had different scenarios from where how we were going through the week. So. Certainly the singles set up, you had a win set up if you're winning by a lot, so we say. If it was tight, the setup, or if we were losing.
Okay.
So we had all stuff like that prepared and pairings and stuff like that. And if you remember that the first session there, I think Luke Donald, McGinley, and somebody else were 4 left out. But they were quite high up in the world rankings.
That's right.
If you remember.
Yes.
And they were all kicking off, and they were all coming to me, well, I'm not playing. I said, well, you can't play everybody. All the egos were getting in
you
there and everything.
And,
I'm on the buzz. So we said, well, just tell them they're all playing in the afternoon. So we played. That was the first time everybody played in the first day.
Right.
So, which was great. Absolutely got everybody involved, and he said he was going to do that. So if it goes all right, we're going to do that. So that was a big thing. So there was a lot of stuff there that sort of behind the scenes that we'd prepared well and gone. And then as you look back on it, I think it may have been 9 matches go down the last hole. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we won 7 or something.
Just all of them, yeah.
Yeah, so it was, although we won by a lot.
Yeah, you always have to look at the scores in the matches to see.
It was close.
Yeah.
It was close, but we had a great team, and the lads were brilliant that week. They were really good, and it was a good, strong team.
What was your role?
My role was really counting them in, counting them out, trying to keep the peace.
Right.
I got sent out with Monty a few times in the singles. I'll never forget the last day he played David Toms in the singles.
Yeah.
So I walked with him a bit, give him, tell him how good he was, and all that sort of thing.
That's all Monty needs.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Yeah, tell him how, and he was brilliant. He was fantastic. He played number 1. That was. He did that brilliantly, just keep an eye on things. Report back to Woosie, and it was good, and just see how the lads are playing. We had a tough thing there where I don't think Clark is still, I think hopefully he still forgives us. But we dropped Darren, if you remember, he played with Lee in the
he
one
only
match.
played once a day, Darren.
That's right. And Lee had played really well, and Dan played okay. And Billy comes up to Billy Foster and says, look, he needs a rest this afternoon. Yeah, don't play him. And so we didn't play him. And he went mad. Clark, he wanted to play.
Right.
Yeah, because you do want to play. You know?
But it made sense to one a day, given he was pretty fragile, as he showed at the end. I mean, he burst into tears at the end. I mean, quite understandably. I mean, it was a terrible situation to be in, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you tell them they're great players, and they are great players.
Were you at the first tee when he and Lee?
Yeah.
So was I. I mean, I've never seen anything like
That was
that.
incredible. Yeah. I said, well, walked down the fairway with Darren. I got 100 yards down there. I said, well done. I said, that was great drive.
Oh, he killed it.
I said, I don't know how you did that. He said, well, I've got to be honest, nor do I. He said, I think there was 3 balls. He said, I just picked the middle one. He said, And then he made a birdie, didn't he?
Yeah,
Remember?
that's right.
And he came off the green. I said, I guess that was just meant to be. When he said, it must have been, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I get the atmosphere around that tee and the reception that he got. And Lee was clever enough to hang back and let him walk on by himself.
That's right. It was electric, wasn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, I've never had anything like that since. I mean, it was just, it was brilliant. Yeah. And Ireland was flying then, wasn't it? It was the Celtic Tiger was flying. And I remember Tiger hitting it in the water and straight away, is it into Tiger Bay?
Yeah.
You know, just bang, quick as the crowd. Because the weather was terrible. I mean, luckily we got through it because, I mean, at night it was just chucked it down but the crowds were just absolutely brilliant. The whole thing was a great experience.
Yeah. But as I say, I remember saying to Mark O'Meara, who I ghosted Mark O'Meara's stuff for Golf Digest at that time, or back before that. So I knew him well. And he'd been in contention to be captain with Tom Lehman and didn't get it. And I remember saying to him, you dodged a bullet there. He says, yeah, probably did.
Yeah.
Because it was a really poor team.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. They struggled, didn't they? Yeah. And it was funny because I remember that we went in the team room after, the American team room after, and vice versa, and partying away, and they were great. And I don't forget there was Tiger with a cigar and Michael Jordan with a cigar, and Ireland had just about, I think, back then they stopped smoking. They banned smoking for indoors. I think you could smoke. Anyway, they were sort of indoors. I was trying to smoke. The security guy kept saying, "Look, you're going to have to go outside and be so many yards away."
Tiger and Michael
This
Jordan.
is Tiger and Michael Jordan. This security guard still got they get in and out. Anyway, I think in the end, I think he gave up the security guard, but it was quite funny.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Let's get back to you in the midst of all that. Round about that time, I was looking at your record, and you're knocking about on the Challenge Tour. You went in on the Challenge Tour that then. Yeah. So I hadn't realised that you'd obviously lost your card.
Yeah. Lost my card. Went to the school. Didn't do any good. I don't think it did terrible. I think at the school, Sam Rocket it might have been that. I think
it would be.
Yeah. I might even not made the whole 6 rounds. I think I don't know. Anyway, it was a mess. Playing awful, and then so I had to make a decision what we're going to do. So I thought, right, go. Let's see if we can get back on it.
Was that a bit of a blow to the ego?
Do you know what it was? It was different, very, very different. And I say enjoyed it. In some ways enjoyed it because it was like going back a bit.
Yeah.
You're defending for yourself. If you forget the money aspect to it, which is poor, you're playing with youngsters, which is quite inspiring. You play with them and you see them, right, okay, so you could try and beat them with your experience and everything, and you get in your hire car and you're checking it. So it's a lot of it was quite good, and made some good friends on there, and then sort of did okay. But I think it was the top 10. I'm going to say the top 10 got the full card, I think, and then the 10 to 15 get some card, and I kept finishing 11th. I think I finished 11th. 11th got me card, didn't keep it. Went back, got 11th. Blah blah blah. Didn't keep it. Yeah. Played a few.
You wouldn't get many starts.
No, and it was just one of them. So you sort of limbo, really. Yeah. I was just trying to think, and then that was it, really. I think I played a few, and then it's like, right, that's enough of that. I don't know.
You'd be in mid-40s at that point. That's, as I've said many times, it's a kind of black hole for professional golfers because you're too old to be competitive in the real world and not old enough to play seniors golf yet. And I always think your mate Paul Broadhurst is the perfect example of what to do in that situation. Yeah. He just played in everything. Local alliances, pro-arms. I mean, just to keep playing, because if you stop, man, it's difficult to pick it up again.
Very much so, yeah.
So what did you do?
So I got my local golf club, South Staffs Golf Club, where I'm pro now. So I did a bit of work for them. So I, what was it called? Golf director, if you want to call it. So I did golf days, a few bits and pieces. And then, a couple of years into that, they offered me the pros job there, which I didn't really want to take it.
Because that's kind of acknowledging that you're done as a player.
Yeah, and I always think it's a difficult job. It's a difficult job. The pros job, I think, is a difficult job, and it's a lot of work for very little income, and it's a full-time job.
A lot of bosses as well.
Yeah, and I still wanted to play. I still wanted to play a bit, and even just in small bits. Anyway, I did, and it was good. It was probably for me, it was the right thing to do. I still do it now, and that allowed me to. I just didn't want to sit about doing nothing because I get bored, and I can still play a bit of golf in the PGA stuff, and try and keep my hand in for the scene.
So you did a bit of what Paul did.
Broady just went for it. I mean, he did, like you say, which is the right thing to do. Yeah, I mean, anybody always tell the guys, you just got to go and play with the card in your hand as much as you can anyway, and hit the ground running. So I did try to sort of half of that, shall we say, try and do a bit of that. I think that was the right thing to do. So I kept myself going. Still do it now. Yeah, ups and downs with it. I'm glad I do it. I don't want to be. I got to do something. I want to be sitting.
You've got the right personality for it. I mean, you're good with people. I mean, I've never seen you snap at anybody, or not even a member of the press.
I have my moments. I can show you. Show you my moments, and it does happen. But look, you try and do your best.
Yeah. Again, I was looking at your record, and I hadn't realised that you'd played exactly 600 European Tour events. And you won 3, which means that you lost 99.5% of the time, Peter. I need to bring that up.
Yeah. Well,
they say golfers lose nearly all the time, but I mean,
I do. There is some figures actually, and when I do, sometimes I do some dinners after dinner split, and I have actually got the numbers, how many cuts I made and stuff like that, right. and it's like exactly that.
99.5% you lost.
Oh, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, but when you look at the record, it's like I think it's about 53% of those events I made the cut, or something like that, maybe 56 or something like that. Right. Yeah, so it's a lot long. Yeah, it's a lot of rubbish.
Yeah, well, I tell that. I mean, people. I've probably told this story already on here, but I tell the story about how when I went to Golf Digest in 1988 to be the kind of instruction editor, and the stuff that helps you play better in the magazine. That was my department, and when I arrived, the average handicap of the average reader was 17.8, and I'm very proud to say that 8 years later, when I left, it was 17.8.
Brilliant.
It made absolutely no difference.
No difference at all. No. It's yeah. It's the funny the stats. Like, I mean, I didn't even. My 600, I didn't even know, and I picked up. I mean, I never. European Tour never give me anything or did anything. I did when I got 500. They give me an ice bucket. 600, nobody's been in contact.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, so there we go. So I didn't know that until I read it. But so
you've not tempted to play in another one and ruin that number?
No, I think that's a nice number. Yeah, I think it's a nice number. I'd love to know how many I played in with the Challenge Tour and the Senior Tour and everything. That must be getting up there a bit.
Yeah.
Nowhere near Sam's record, but
What do you make of the Senior Tour? It's a bit of a struggle in Europe, financially, economically, however you want to put it. And you can almost argue, if you want to be really harsh about it, that there's no really an economic argument for that thing to even exist. But it does exist, and you do a good job with it. How does it work?
I think.
Or why does it work?
Yeah, why does it work? How does it work? I think obviously we've gone down a different route with it, trying to involve the amateurs and celebrities. I think with the amateurs thing, you've got to do something different. I think and we haven't got the big names like the Champions Tour of it, which we desperately need. When Wuzzy plays and Paul Laurie plays and Monty plays, that makes a huge difference to us. And it does change it. I think we just got to keep pushing on with it. I think we've got to try and either get the amateurs playing or get more corporate involved, and try and get the sponsors that way, because, it's still expensive. It's expensive to put the tournament on, expensive to run it. Obviously, Ryan Howson, he's backing it, so we're grateful to him. And I think he's trying to, build it up into a bit of a series and a form, and then try and get more tournaments, which is great for us. I mean, I think it's a tough sell. I mean, everybody knows it's a tough sell,
absolutely.
And you need the names. I mean, obviously this week at Trump Day, you've got a few American guys, and obviously Monty's playing, and Daly's playing, and Checker's playing. So we've got some more names there. I think it makes a big difference.
The downside is that, or one of the downsides is that people who are casual golf fans don't appreciate just how good the field is. I mean, there's a lot of good players there that people not necessarily know. They're not household names, put it that way.
Yeah. And it's a strange thing about it is the average age of a club golfer is quite high.
Yeah.
It's a senior, isn't it?
Yeah.
Senior age, and it's, I don't know. Somehow you think you get more rapport with that, and if you look at I'm told you look at the incomes of people that are at the highest when they've got more money behind them, the mortgages are paid, the kids are gone. So you think there's something there that we could tap into, yeah. And I think. Whether it's more with the club golfer, I don't know, or corporate side of it, or it's a tough one. But we've got the tournaments going. We've got a few more each year. So it is going forward. I think Ryan himself will tell you it's hard work, but he's determined to do it. And let's hope he can. I mean, we're lucky. We're lucky to get another chance. I mean,
and you've done well with it.
Yeah, I've done well with it. Yeah, it's like us going back to right at the beginning, being competitive. It's great, great to be competitive at my age. And I think all the guys that say that, got something to play in. I'm lucky I've got other things, like the pro shop and the golf side to it. But, a lot of the guys haven't. They're just tournament golf.
Yeah, I mean, the other day, when we were at the Senior Open at Carnoustie, I asked you this, and, were you to win that event? Obviously you didn't, so it's a moot point, but if you did win that, it's such a big thing you're immediately on the Champions Tour in America, and you kind of hummed and hawed about whether you would go. But to me, it'd be a no-brainer to go for a year. You'd make a fair bit of cash just even if you just stayed for a year. That's me making the case for it. But you, you've obviously got a good thing.
Yeah, going, I would probably play some. Yeah, I wouldn't play a year or whatever. I wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't rent a place for a year and have a base.
No chance. No, I wouldn't do that. No, I do all right at home. I enjoy what I do. My daughter's getting married this year. Got a nice family. I've done a lot of travel, like we all have, all around the world. And I started when I was 17. Was I 18 when I turned pro? So I've been at it a long time. So it's and it's a grind. Hotels. They all sound glamorous, as we know. We've all been there, and it's you get enough of it after a while. I think it's a long way. Yeah,
America never appealed to you.
It did. We had a chance 93 after the Ryder Cup, and 94 I had a chance to go and play, and I didn't go, and I felt that. Obviously got my youngster then, and another one on the way, and I've just felt like, well, if I'm going to play well, and I play well in Europe, it'll be there. It'll still be there. So obviously I didn't play well enough, so I didn't do it. And do I regret it? Occasionally I regret I didn't have a go, but look, if I could have played rubbish there as well. Probably would have done.
I ask this question on most when I've got a player on these podcasts, and how do you rate your career against par?
Oh, right.
What do you think? Because I'm looking at, I know how good a player you were. People, can look at your record. You only played in 18 majors, and you missed the cut in 11 of them.
Yeah.
Now I'm sorry, that isn't you. You're better than that. So I'm wondering, that must be disappointing that you didn't show up at the highest level a bit more.
Yeah. I think, in some parts of my career, I feel like disappointed and frustrated by it, that I didn't perform at the right time, if you want to call it, or in the majors and stuff like that, or not even have enough opportunities to do it. Where was it? Somebody came on the other day, and it was his 40th major. Oh, I tell you, it was Henley, is it? Henley last week.
Oh yeah,
that was his 40th major.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, American, it helps to be American.
Yeah, that was just you think, God. Anyway, we in the ranking points are so bad then it never got us in the things and all that sort of stuff. So that was disappointing, not having enough opportunities. And probably half of those I may have qualified for pre-qualifying for the Open, or certainly
sure,
a few of them. But yeah, that was so I look at it and I find it, if I want to be morbid and look at it, it's been disappointing. And then other sides of it, it's been great. I guess you do what you can. So I don't get to say. I had a conversation with Beefy, me and both of them, and I said, I feel like I could have done better in my career, and all that. He said, well, you got to take one thing. He says, you got into the Ryder Cup. He said, you qualified for the Ryder Cup, and the important thing was, he said, when you were there, you turned up. You should never forget that. He says, you can get in it and not turn up. He said, but you got in there and turned up.
Yeah.
So that was him being very nice. But
Richard Boxall, who I must get on this podcast at some point because he's a great storyteller, he told me that he qualified twice. He led the qualifying 2 years in a row for the Open. And the second time he did it, he's in the bar. And Jack Newton's there, Australian, obviously. And he's telling Jack the story that second year in a row, Jack, I led the qualifiers. What do you think of that? Jack has a wee sip of his drink. He goes, I think you're a fucking good qualifier. That was the end of that conversation.
Yeah. Well, there was that talking about stuff like that. There was, what's his name? Ollie Carlson. Do you remember Ollie Carlson?
Of course, yeah.
So Ollie Carlson was down at St Mellion and Benson Hedges are there. Anyway, he comes up to me on the practice ground. He says, I can't do his high pitch voice. He had a very high pitch voice. Yeah. And he said, Peter, he says, I'm playing with a cricketer. I said, right, what's his name? He said, Geoffrey Boycott. He said, I don't know nothing about cricket, he said. And I said, okay. So he's one of England's finest. I said, he's been a great cricketer. And I said, he's a Yorkshireman. And he said, Yorkshireman? I said, I'll forget that bit. I said, don't worry about it. But anyway, I said, great cricketer. And okay. He said, I don't know nothing about cricket. You'll be fine. So anyway, off he goes, and we're on the practice ground afterwards, and he comes on. I said, Ollie, how did you get on? Oh, he said, not so good. Yeah. I said, why? What happened? He said, well, I got on the first tee. He said, introduce yourself. I said, Mr. Boycott, my name's Ollie Carlson. He said, I'm 31st in the order merit. And I said, oh, right. I said, what did he say? He said, well, I was 31st at anything. He said, I wouldn't tell nobody. Oh, God. he said to me. Yeah. And he said, I said, oh, right. I said, that wasn't so good. No. He said, it made me nervous.
Yeah. I can imagine Boycott.
Can you imagine him saying that? Can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing, and I hate having to ask this question at the moment, but it's an ongoing thing. Live Golf, the tours, all the talking that's going on. What's your view of that, and what do you know?
Yeah, what do I know? Not a lot. No, but I think I'm in the same boat as most people. Not a lot. I think that I can't blame the guys going for the money. That was like an individual decision. It's a business decision.
Yeah.
So you make a business decision and you do it or you don't do it. We don't really want to do it. It's up to the individual. Not so sure you should be get paid for not going, which I think I don't get that bit because some of them have had the chance and not done it. That's fine. You made that decision. Yeah. It's like, making a business decision. It's, can I go back and make the right one? Yeah. Anyway, so I don't agree with all that. Looking forward, I hope, and I don't think we'll get it. I'd love to see a world tour. The world tour is the right thing to do. I don't think the Americans will do it. I don't think the Americans will go for a world tour. They don't particularly travel a lot, or if at all. But I would really like to see the whole thing become a world tour. Now you can play some team things in it. I don't really get that team thing element.
I think the team thing has got a chance.
Yeah.
If there's a 3 week, like the cricket.
Yeah.
The IPL has worked perfectly in the cricket. They've given them a month. They say team golf. A month. If everybody was playing, I would watch that.
Yeah.
If it was match playing.
Yeah. You've got to have them all playing together, haven't you?
Absolutely.
That's the key. And I'm not sure that's going to happen really. I mean, bit of a bugbear, I suppose, but God, you should be playing they should be playing in Australia. Got some of the greatest courses in the world. South Africa, they should play in South Africa. South America, Europe, they need to go to these places.
Well,
and give the world a chance to see what's going on.
Yeah, I think and maybe hope that the eventually this could, if it all falls apart, which it very well could, and the PGA Tour just goes off and becomes the PGA Tour in America, and there's something else evolves that's everywhere else except America.
Yeah.
Places like Australia and the Australian Open is in terrible straits at the moment. I mean, it's not nothing like it should be. I mean, it's a great title.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wonderful. As you say, the great players down there, great courses, the weather. There's so many things going for it, and they can't make it work somehow, or like it did before. If that evolves, That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
No. I mean, everybody they keep going on, don't they? Grow the game. Well, that's just, for me, it's a lot of words. They need to grow the game. They need to get the kids to see the great players in Australia, South Africa, Asia. They need to see them. Yeah. You know, that's how when I was growing up, I went to a lot of the Opens. My dad used to take me to the Opens. We'd go on holiday there for the week. And, you know, we used to walk on the fairways with them on Sunday, Monday before, God, you've seen these greats from all around the world live, and you're standing right next to them. That's what inspired you to do it, and you wanted to do it. And I think I'd love to see a world tour. Maybe only 20 events, maybe only 20 weeks of the year, 15 weeks a year, I don't know, but visiting these places and playing different forms of golf. I mean, you know, you watch the PGA Tour, you know, it's just a different name to me. You know, a lot of the courses are the same, it's just a different name. You just.
I mean, I call me naive, and I've said this many times again, but I always think that the top 10 players in the world, if at the start of every calendar year, they got together and they said, right, we're all going to go somewhere. Yeah. One week a year. We're all not the same place, but 10 different places. Just because it's the right thing to do, and we won't get paid, we'll just go.
Yeah.
And the perfect example was when Rory played in the South African Open, when Graham Storm won.
Right, yeah.
Beat Rory in the playoff.
Yeah.
And Rory went as a favour to Ernie, and the place was moving with kids.
Yeah. And that's what you got to do.
If the top 10 in the world all did that 1 week, is that really too much to ask? Yeah. Is it the agents get in the way of this?
Yeah, I mean, look, they've all got enough money to, you know, it's not playing for money, is it?
Is it going to change their lifestyle?
Exactly. It's not, you know, they're not going to play.
It's not a lot to ask that.
Yeah, and you know, you just let's hope something really good comes out of that, and they do it, and you know, it's you know, grow the game, get these superstars around the world and get them playing against each other would be brilliant, and yes, it's a shame. It's a shame how it's gone about, isn't it? I mean, we're both in that era where I remember when Norman came out with it first time. Mm-hmm. Now, Norman's got, you know, he's got loads of bad press, but the guy's right. The guy's right with that, and he was right. He was right the first time as well. Yeah, take the world tour. He was right, and you know,
it's the same with, you know, all the things that Seve battled the PGA Tour for. They're all in place now.
Yeah,
you know,
got there in the end. Yeah.
You know, it's like he was the bad guy, but they've all had to come round to it.
Yeah,
you know?
And you know, they need to get together. I don't at the moment. I don't see anything really shifting, but let's hope it does.
And that's a good place to finish. Peter Baker, thanks for your time. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, John.
Cheers.
Amazing to think that at the age of 4, you could write down what you think you want to be when you grow up, and more than 50 years later, still be doing that thing. That is a life well lived. Big thanks to both Huggy and Peter Baker for taking the time for that fascinating chat. Well, that's it for episode 127, but make sure you're following the pod on your preferred app, and that way you won't miss an episode, including this gem on our next.
There's nothing that means more to me professionally than broadcasting the Masters tournament.
That's CBS's Mr. Golf, Jim Nance. Next time on The Thing About Golf.